Hey there, guys. So for this demo, we're going to be talking about creating value. Now, a couple things you're going to need for this demo is I would probably keep like a paper towel, just a dry one nearby. You're going to need your charcoal, a black pen, and a regular pencil, okay? Lead pencils like these don't work so great for shading because you can't really color with the side of the lead. You can only color with the point. So try to find a regular pencil like this one, okay? Couple things about this sheet as you guys are working through these. Remember, your name should always go at the top. I'll just write name, but please write your own. Okay, this is our demo. And also, this is activity 1.2. Remember, there's always a video to go along with the demo if you see that little symbol there. So what we're going to be doing today is working with creating value. Now, when we create value, it's good to try it with different materials so that you understand how to create value with different materials. So the first thing we're going to do is use a pencil. Okay, so you're going to need your regular pencil, and you can see they're kind of labeled. It says complete the value scale below. I always go for the darkest first, okay? And the reason why is because it's good to see how dark can my pencil go. Now, if you guys have a drawing pencil, use that. It's probably going to get a little bit darker, but if you just have a regular writing pencil, this will work too, okay? The other thing to note is that when we're writing, we hold our pencil like this, okay? Sort of like a writing position where we're using the point of the pencil. But for our purposes, we're going to hold it a little bit differently, okay? So if it's tricky for you to kind of get in this position, what I always recommend for students to do is set the pencil down on their paper, pick it up like this. So it's between your fingers and your thumb, and the point of the pencil is sort of up here instead of down here by your pinky, okay? And what that's going to do is give us the ability to use the side of the lead to shade, and we're going to put our index finger right behind it to kind of add the pressure, okay? So we're going to use this flat side to shade, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start. And again, you can see how quickly this happens. The other thing you'll notice is that I'm working on like a folder or like a stack of papers would work. You just want to have a nice soft surface underneath so that you don't pick up the texture of the table that you're working on or something like that, okay? So there's our darkest value, and our lightest value is really just going to be a little bit. So what you're seeing me doing here is taking my finger actually and picking up a little bit of lead and putting it down here in the lightest. So that's just a step off from our white, okay? Now we can kind of shoot for the middle value. So what does halfway between that look like? Generally, with a regular drawing pencil or whichever one you're working with, it's sort of a soft shade between the two, okay? So I'm just kind of shading in solid. The other thing I can do is use my paper towel. Just give it a nice blend over, okay? So that'll soften up your values, really make them look nice, okay? Now that I have my middle, and again, these might change a little bit. These two are sort of easier to get because we know this is our lightest and this is our darkest. Be careful not to get too light here, okay? But we're going to get some steps in between. So what I like to do is kind of color these together at the same time. And what I'm looking for is darker than this one, but lighter than this one. So I'm going to push these two at the same time. Okay. And I'm getting a little bit darker. I'm going to push it just a little bit more here. How am I doing this? I'm sort of layering it and also adding pressure. That's just a step darker than the one in the middle. Okay. Now I can push this one just a little bit further to create that next darkest value. Okay. So now I can take my paper towel and just sort of blend. Okay. And with these guys, I'm going to shade them the same just to kind of push this value throughout. All right. But then I'm going to push this one just a little bit darker using light pressure here, guys. Now, some students, when you're getting the hang of this, it might take you a couple tries or whatever. You can try to erase and pick up value, especially when you're shading with your pencils using the side of the lead. It's easier to erase. You guys see how easy that's coming up? Nice and easy. Okay, so you can kind of clean up your value scale. You can also try to pick up value, like I said, like if you're like, you know what, these two, these three look too similar. They're really shiny for you guys, but you can see them there. Do you see how this has more, these are really similar and this has too much of a jump? So maybe I can go over this with my eraser just a little bit to try and pick up some of that lead. Reblend. You might need to kind of, that looks better. Okay. So you can see even I need to adjust at times. So that's with a pencil. Alrighty. That's what we're going for. Charcoal is a little bit messy. All right, so be careful. I like to just get a little on my finger. I'm going to do my lightest value first. Okay. Remember, darkest value is going to be dark. So go over it. Really push it. Okay. My middle value, I'm going to just shade lightly here. The thing with charcoal is it gets really dark fast, so be careful. Okay. I can use my paper towel to really blend this. I'm going to go ahead and do the same here. And just to kind of give myself a start, I'm just going to push this throughout. Okay. So now I can just take this, turn this around here. Maybe push this just a smidge. Okay. So you can see that's working pretty well. Now I just got to get these darker ones. All right. And again, you can see I approach the two together just because I know they're going to be darker than this one. Go ahead and blend those. Just push them darker. And then I'm going to take this one that's closest to the darkest, push it just a little further. Okay. Before you move on, take a look at your scale and make sure it steps nicely. These look really similar. I'm just going to push this one a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So you should have a nice arrangement there of your values. Okay. And you can see the difference how dark charcoal gets. So, you know, this is good for if you want really dark darks in there. Alrighty. So that's that. We're going to go ahead and shade our sphere. A couple things to note. We're going to be using pencil and your light source is going to be coming from here. How do I know that? Our shadow is always opposite. So you can see your highlight is always going to be opposite the cast shadow. Our midtones exist between the highlights and the shadow areas. All right, which we're going to do in here. So when it comes to using pencil, again, we're going to go ahead and shade. Start by shading the dark side of the sphere. Now, when we look at a sphere, it's round. There's no flat sides. So you can see as I'm shading, I'm also not just scribbling in a straight direction. I'm kind of going around the form. Okay. And I'm working to kind of push this value here. And again, you know, you might need to kind of turn your paper so it's comfortable for you. We're going to try and shade this a little darker. So you can see I've switched to my overhand shading position. Okay, our cast shadow is always going to be really dark. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this sphere really quick. Just to kind of give you guys a little something here. We're going to be blending that as well. And our cast shadow sits on the surface of the table. So anything three-dimensional in space is going to have a cast shadow if it's sitting on a table and there's light coming down on it somehow. Alrighty. So there's our cast shadow. I'm going to push this just a smidge more so I can see the edge of that sphere. Alrighty. And then the other thing I like to do is kind of shade in my background. Just give it a little something. And we're going to refine this just a smidge more here as we're working. I'm going to color this a little bit lighter. I'm going to take my paper towel. This has charcoal on it, so I'm not going to use that corner. Maybe I'll use this one here. I'm just going to go ahead and blend over everything, okay? So I'm blending it all in, and you can see things have fallen a little bit flat. That's where this guy comes in, okay? So I'm going to take my eraser now, and I'm literally going to draw with my eraser. So I'm kind of going back over my sphere. You can see now how that's starting to pop. I'm going to go ahead and just accentuate the back end of the table. Some of you are probably like, whoa, Miss Ernie, that happened fast. Yeah, once you get the hang of just creating the values, it does happen sort of fast, okay? Shading with the side of your pencil also helps it happen quite fast. And you guys know you could pause this video and kind of go at your own pace, okay? So that's our sphere. In the last section, we're going to use a pen. It's good to be able to create value with pen. And you can see there's some examples here for you. So you're just going to go ahead and hopefully I can get my pen working. Here we go. Hatching is lines going in one direction. And it's really just about kind of spacing them out as you go over. Cross-hatching and scumbling. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and then I'll show you when I'm near done. Hey guys, so the last one on here is scumbling, and that's sort of just like scribbling. You know, don't be afraid to loosen up and just, you're creating small scribbles. You can see as I kind of get to this end, I'm kind of spacing them out more. And as I'm working on the dark end, I'm kind of really going over to create a darker value. So for each of these, what we're looking for, just an overview, is your pencil value scale from dark to light, charcoal, okay. Your sphere should be done in pencil. It says it right here. Okay. And then these, you're going to be using a pen. So you can see my black pen and my examples match pretty closely. So, you know, hatching, the tricky part is just keeping your pen in one direction. Cross hatching, you just go in 1, 2 directions. Cross hatching, you can even go in more directions. So if you want to add a third direction there, you can do that. Okay. And scumbling is just scribbling. So this is what this one looks like. And that's our value sheet.